Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Bellator fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting some of the key fights for Bellator 279, Cyborg versus Blencowe 2. And her name really don't matter too much. I'm like butchering, but there's no reason for this fight to be happening. So yeah. Cyborg versus Blencowe 2. And now, so our first fight on the card that I'll be predicting, I'm just predicting some of the key fights and not the full card. But yeah, the first fight I'll be predicting is in the lightweight division, Yancey Maderos versus Emmanuel Sanchez. And how I see one right here, pretty interesting match right here. Yancey Maderos actually got a pretty decent chance here. I feel like he has shown decent, surprisingly decent wrestling defense, at least initially. But if like constant, relentless takedown pressure, he eventually could be wilt. He eventually could start to break down as anybody. Like you could defend a takedown like 5 takedowns. Somebody going at you like 10, 20 takedowns like Gregory Gillespie was doing. It's gonna break anyone down. Unless they can put it into it some way. But yeah, so he's showing some surprisingly good wrestling defense. But I feel like Sanchez still could push the better pace. And I feel like also Maderos is way too hittable. And I feel like he'll probably get cracked a couple times, maybe drop once in this one. I feel like Sanchez will probably be able to get a takedown or two. I feel like Maderos will respond well and be able to get back to his feet and be a scramble will out there. But again, like getting hit with big shots is never a good look. And getting rocked, probably even dropped once or twice in this fight, not a good look. And that's like Sanchez will be able to push the better pace, probably be able to kick his legs, doesn't check leg kick the best either. Probably do some big shots and be the stronger physical man out there, dominating the center of the cage, scoring the takedowns, dominate position, and like again, land the harder shots and the more telling shots. But competitive fight nonetheless. Well, I wouldn't say it's all too. Matter of fact, it's gonna be competitive. Maderos always in competitive fights. It's just the fact that he be getting wobbled out there. He be getting some bad situations, especially early. And it's not like Sanchez is not a guy that slows down. He gets stronger as the fight goes on. So Maderos usually. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Bellator fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting some of the key fights for Bellator 279, Cyborg versus Blencowe 2. And her name really don't matter too much. I'm like butchering, but there's no reason for this fight to be happening. So yeah. Cyborg versus Blencowe 2. And now, so our first fight on the card that I'll be predicting, I'm just predicting some of the key fights and not the full card. But yeah, the first fight I'll be predicting is in the lightweight division, Yancey Maderos versus Emmanuel Sanchez. And how I see one right here, pretty interesting match right here. Yancey Maderos actually got a pretty decent chance here. I feel like he has shown decent, surprisingly decent wrestling defense, at least initially. But if like constant, relentless takedown pressure, he eventually could be wilt. He eventually could start to break down as anybody. Like you could defend a takedown like 5 takedowns. Somebody going at you like 10, 20 takedowns like Gregory Gillespie was doing. It's gonna break anyone down. Unless they can put it into it some way. But yeah, so he's showing some surprisingly good wrestling defense. But I feel like Sanchez still could push the better pace. And I feel like also Maderos is way too hittable. And I feel like he'll probably get cracked a couple times, maybe drop once in this one. I feel like Sanchez will probably be able to get a takedown or two. I feel like Maderos will respond well and be able to get back to his feet and be a scramble will out there. But again, like getting hit with big shots is never a good look. And getting rocked, probably even dropped once or twice in this fight, not a good look. And that's like Sanchez will be able to push the better pace, probably be able to kick his legs, doesn't check leg kick the best either. Probably do some big shots and be the stronger physical man out there, dominating the center of the cage, scoring the takedowns, dominate position, and like again, land the harder shots and the more telling shots. But competitive fight nonetheless. Well, I wouldn't say it's all too. Matter of fact, it's gonna be competitive. Maderos always in competitive fights. It's just the fact that he be getting wobbled out there. He be getting some bad situations, especially early. And it's not like Sanchez is not a guy that slows down. He gets stronger as the fight goes on. And Maderos is a guy that typically gets stronger as the fight goes on. As the fight goes on. Or like he gets a terrible first round, and he's a late round type of guy. Like he'll get rocked and wobbled early, but then he'll come on strong, typically. Sanchez is a guy that just kind of a slow starter, but gets stronger as the fight goes on. He's not a slow starter. But his best start is his best part is definitely later. Like he'll get stronger, he'll get hungry as the fight goes on. He's not a slow starter where like anybody could take him in the first round. Like some people are very bad starters, like Donald Cerrone and some other guy. Like they'll get wobbled or they get touched or they'll let somebody piece them up for the first round and they kind of had to get settled in and get punched and get settled in. I'm just saying that Sanchez is a guy, the harder the fight is, he gets tougher. Like he's already tough to start, but he's even tougher down the stretch. So, and I feel like his biggest issue so far with Bellator has been, or at least as far as I've seen, is better wrestlers, better grappler, people that will at least try to take him to that extent, or people that are just better overall. And I don't see Maderos is definitely not a guy that's going to have a better offensive wrestling against him, and he's not a guy I don't see he's better overall. So I just feel like this is a fight for Sanchez. I think he gets his hand raised. So in this fight, I have Emmanuel Sanchez via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the welterweight division, Goto Yamauchi versus Levon Chokeli. And how I see one right here between Yamauchi versus Chokeli is I think Chokeli is a pretty decent fighter. Grappling got some concerns, but he did go in there with a solid wrestler and crush him. So I don't think Yamauchi's going to necessarily have as easy of a time as people think, but I still think he's going to go out and do what he has been doing, throughout his career. I feel like it's going to be a little bit more work to get those takedowns, but his speed and technical edge is going to allow him to get those takedowns or get that grappling, make this a grappling situation some way, somehow, whether it be like a sneaky takedown transition to a standing back take, or maybe a single, maybe a double, switch the angle. I feel like he's going to have to do a little bit more work to get the bigger man down. But once he starts getting him down, I think he's going to go to work. But probably a little fill out process first round, but Yamauchi's able to secure the takedown, pepper him up a little bit late once he gets him down to the ground, and try to work for some submissions. In the second round, fill him out, give him fake, blast through him, drag him to the mat, then tap him out after, pepper him up, force him to advance, or force him to try to make something happen, or force him to make a move, taking advantage, transitioning, establish a position, some more tapping, some more padding, just touching him up, and then choking him out or tapping him out in that second round. So in this fight, I got Goto Yamauchi via second round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the featherweight division, Kamaka III versus Justin Gonzalez. And how I see this one right here is I'm going with Kamaka III. I feel like at some points you gotta look in the career and say, oh, solid wrestler, but at times he has been out wrestled and out controlled in some fights. Like he got out wrestled in fights in his opening. And Gonzalez, I would feel, has shown to be the better wrestler grappling this one. But I feel like Kamaka III has been making those improvements in his wrestling and his grappling. I feel more so than just wrestling has been his cardio. He has had cardio issues, but I feel like he's been working on them and getting better in that area. So I feel like it's not going to be as big a concern. I just feel like he's the better striker between the two, definitely bring more attention. And also feel like he's not going to be too shy to wrestle with Gonzalez. I feel like he can score takedowns on Gonzalez, but I feel like that's not the fight he necessarily wants to have. He plays too much in that. He could very well end up on decision, even if he does end up outpointing him in the wrestling. Like he can get 2-3 takedowns, but when you're going focusing too much on the wrestling and not too much on your hands where you clearly have the advantage, it can end up when a decision not going your way, when if he more so mixing a couple takedowns in there, it works more so on sprawling and brawling. Well, I wouldn't say brawling, but like sprawling and working with his hands, probably rip him to the body of Gonzalez so he can have level change as well. And, also when you do the body shots, you're keeping your hands like kind of a little bit low or keeping them in position. So you rip him in the body, then we already trying to level change. Your hands already there for the underhooks and be able to stuff his takedowns and control his body. So he can't level change and go for takedowns. Also, Gonzalez is the longer man, so you already have a height issue because you gotta level change, you gotta lower yourself to go for those takedowns. I don't think he's no great body lock takedown person either. So he's not a great Greco-Roman wrestler or anything. So you won't have to go level change, rip him to the body, have those underhooks there for him. Just disregard him to the side when he tries to go for the takedown. Dig those underhooks deep, probably rip him to the body with some knees, disengage, and go back to ripping the body, pepper him with the jab. But yeah, I don't see it as a stoppage in this one. I still see it as a competitive fight. Gonzalez going to try to make it something of it. I still think Kamaka III going to entertain grappling with him at points in this fight. But it's not like Gonzalez is the greatest off his back or, positions. I don't feel like Kamaka III going to allow him to get into such a dominant position. But it's nonetheless some grappling exchanges, but ultimately Kamaka III striking being what differentiates these two out there. So in this fight, I got Kamaka III via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the lightweight division, Lance Gibson Jr. versus Nainoa Dung, or Nainoa, whatever his name is, Dung. But either way, I just think this guy don't belong there with Gibson Jr. Gibson Jr. could knock him out on the feet, I'll wrestle him to a decision, or tap him out, or take him down and look like a Khabib against him. I feel like Gibson Jr. is just far more advanced than him, and just is another one fight just building up the young Lance Gibson Jr. But this guy already has the skill to really advance and really take a step of a competition. But I respect the slow take. You don't want to be jumping ahead too soon in your career and then risking unnecessary losses, unnecessary damage. Just build yourself up, get your feet wet out there, and that's what he's doing. I think he goes out there, he has a clean performance, probably hurts him on the feet a little bit, mixing some wrestling. Matter of fact, I'm gonna say first round. I'm not gonna say second or third. He's gonna fill him out a little bit, but he's gonna do all his filling out in the first round, and he's gonna do his business in the first round, get him out of there. Probably fill him if he probably go for a takedown. Matter of fact, crack him on the feet, blast through him, pick him up, toss him on the ground, establish his top position, land some heavy shots. Probably sit on that half guard and just maul him to a first round stoppage, and I say under 3 minutes in that first round. So in this fight, I got Lance Gibson Jr. via first round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in our first fight on the main card in the women's flyweight division, Ilima-Lei Macfarlane, former flyweight champion, versus Justine Keisha. And how I see this one right here between these two is, I think Justine Keisha is a gamer. She's tough. I wouldn't say she's all that skilled at, I mean, I'm not saying she's unskilled, but she's not the fighter we say, oh, she's a technical masterclass. She's so good. She's so this, she's so that. She's not one of the fighters you would look at and say, oh, she's so good. She's not so good. But she's a gamer. She's a dog, and she will go out there and she'll fight, and she'll bite down mouthpiece. She will poop her panties, and I should give her all. And I'm actually referencing something that actually happened to her. So she'll give it all, her all, to survive chokes, to survive this, survive that. But I think Ilima-Lei Macfarlane is just so much more polished than her, so much smoother on the striking, and just so much more technical on the ground. I think Keisha's gonna make it a little bit interesting. She's gonna be aggressive, but Macfarlane clean technique is just gonna prevail. Like, Keisha's gonna probably look close and competitive to like the casuals maybe, but anyone that's looking at the clean actual striking and the actual fight, Macfarlane's gonna be a step or two or three ahead of Keisha. Keisha's gonna be aggression, but Macfarlane's technique is gonna turn that aggression against her, be it out strike her, score takedowns on her, out position her. I think she taps her out like in the third round after, peppering her up through the first 2 rounds and now controlling her, out position her in the first 2 rounds and wearing her down and, seeing her weaknesses. The third round, probably like more peppering her up, take advantage of that aggression, drag her to the mat, take her back, and it's really just control that position heavy and just look at the control arms, sink the hooks in, slap her in the face a little bit, but see whether she can get that rear naked choke in from the flattened out back mount or like the side mount or whatever the case, work on finding that submission. And ultimately, once she finds where it's weak at and has Keisha kind of a little bit lax, worrying about punches, and start raising those arms up or trying to defend, sneak that rear naked choke in and tap her out in that third round. So in this fight, I have Ilima-Lei Macfarlane via third round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the bantamweight division, Kyoji Horiguchi versus Patchy Mix, or Patricky. Oh, his name not Patricky, it's Patchy Mix. It's not what I got, or Patrick Mix, but Kyoji Horiguchi versus Patchy Mix. And how I see this one right here, Patchy Mix is a very dangerous wrestler, very dangerous grappler. Striking like he's trying to work on it. He's definitely more comfortable on the feet, but still not really his striking still not fully established where you would want it just yet. But maybe in between this fight camp, he has worked on some things coming a whole new beats. But from what I'm seeing and how I don't predict based off what hasn't happened yet. I predict only based off what I've seen, and all I can say from what I've seen is that his striking ain't there yet. And Kyoji Horiguchi don't really have no big issue with wrestlers or grappling. He's always working on his own wrestling and grappling. But Patchy Mix definitely has a huge advantage in that area. But I think it's a huge advantage, but I think Horiguchi can address it. And he's very hard. I mean, I said hard, but he's very hard to take down. And he's very fast, very agile. So it's hard to, get a pin on him where you could just get a hold of him. Because the man's so fast and so elusive, in and out and darting around. Like you're trying to catch a mouse out there, a mouse with dynamite in his hand. A very interesting imagery right there. But either way, very hard to get a hold of him. And I think Patchy Mix gonna have some decent takedowns, but Horiguchi's gonna do well to scramble, get out of them, get back to his feet, and continue this tag him out. I can see this very, very much like the Darian Caldwell fights, where you got a solid wrestler grappler right there. Patchy Mix not as easy to threaten with a guillotine, but nonetheless, I think Horiguchi's gonna do a good job of defending takedowns. But I also think Patchy Mix striking not where Darian Caldwell striking is. So it's like different things. You got your strengths and your weaknesses. Submission grappling much better than Darian Caldwell. It's not that guillotine, not a weakness for him at all. And then you got but his striking not where Darian Caldwell striking is. But, well, yeah. Anywho, I think Kyoji Horiguchi can dictate this fight. I think he can address the wrestling of Mix and just really have Mix trying to find him the whole fight, and then being walk into punches, walk into blitz, and get beat to a decision. But nonetheless competitive. I feel like Mix will be able to find a takedown at times, but not going to be able to establish the control he needs for the period of time he needs, and also not going to be able to get the effective offense he needs on the ground to, seal these rounds. I feel like it's going to be more so Horiguchi's offense on the feet, him stuffing most of these takedowns, probably been kicking the legs out of Patchy Mix at times, and Patchy Mix being a little bit frustrated trying to find him out there. So in this fight, I got Kyoji Horiguchi via decision. Now to our co-main event, we have in the bantamweight division for the interim bantamweight championship. I don't know why they've been doing this, but it just felt like recently Sergio Pettis just fought. So it's not like he's been out for a year. It hasn't been that long, but maybe he has. I'll be getting lost in time. I'll be losing track of time. But anywho, bantamweight co-main event for the interim bantamweight championship. I think this might even be a tournament. I'm not even gonna get all into that stuff. I'm not looking it up. I'm just predicting what I see right here. So it could be a tournament. It could be a Grand Prix. It could be a free fall. It could be a this and that. But I'm gonna predict the fight I see in front of me. So for the interim bantamweight championship of Bellator. Juan Archuleta versus Rafion Stotts. And how I see this one right here between Archuleta versus Stotts is I think a lot of right here. Very competitive fight. Archuleta actually has very solid wrestling defense. I feel like his hold kind of more so in his striking, like where Sergio Pettis was able to dispose. Like his offensive wrestling isn't all that great. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not all that great because Sergio Pettis was able to defend his wrestling pretty easily or, address it. And, Sergio Pettis does have weakness to wrestling and grapplers. So it's obviously not as strong offensively as it is defensively. He's very good at scrambling, getting back to his feet. And for Stotts, I feel like that's where he's going to be strong at. He's going to be the better wrestler. But Archuleta's going to be able to scramble, get back to his feet, and make it a very hard fight. But nonetheless, I still see this as being a very, very competitive fight through 5 rounds. A very pick-em type fight. That's going to be, like I said, can lean either way. This is going to be both guys fighting for every single inch. I feel like Archuleta will be getting better striking exchanges for the most part. Stotts is going to have his little moments here and there. Probably even catch him with like a kick at one point, like a little high kick that he kind of sets up very well out there. Very crafty. But Archuleta, for the most part, probably going to be responding better with the grappling. But Stotts is going to be relentless with the wrestling. And like I said, very close fight. Like Stotts going to be having the better of the wrestling by a little bit. Archuleta going to be having a little better of the striking by a little bit. It's like I said, what do you want? Who do you like more in this stuff? I like the fact that Archuleta has already been in these big moments, and this is a big step for Stotts. But I feel like Stotts is in his zone right now. He's coming in. And I feel like he'll be at the edge with his wrestling in a very close match. And he also does a very good job of slowing the fight down, which I feel like will help. And getting people to play to his style. So I feel like he's going to try to slow Archuleta down, score some takedowns, and then keep a fight where the points aren't that different. And then Stotts they lean on by his grappling exchanges. I feel like at moments he'll be able to get some good control times in these rounds. And probably eke it like a very close decision, like 3 rounds to 2 for Stotts in this one. Like I said, a very close fight. So in this fight, I got Rafion Stotts via decision. Now to our main event, we have in the featherweight division for the undisputed women's featherweight title, Cris Cyborg versus Arlene Blencowe. And I see this one right here, no ifs and no buts, no reason to drag it, this and that. Cyborg should not be in here with Blencowe, but I guess that's the only person that I wanted to fight her at this moment that was in good health. Everybody else was probably injured or just scared or probably cutting down to 135 or cutting down to 125 or just retiring from the sport. But anyway, Cris Cyborg could destroy her on the feet or destroy her on the ground. And I just see her go out there, just run out there, just swinging on her and put her out in that first round. Like probably just hammer, like walk her down, blast kicks to her body, rip hooks up top, push her against the cage, elbowing her, kneeing her. Blencowe cowers to her ground. Then Cyborg just mounts on top of her and starts slamming elbows and hammer fists on her to the ref pulls her off. So in this fight, I got Cris Cyborg via first round TKO. And that concludes my fight predictions for some of the key fights for Bellator 279, Cyborg versus Blencowe 2. And as always, thanks for watching.